My friend is making a lot of easy money by taking pictures of salmon dressed in human clothes. It's like shooting fish in apparel.
Somebody threw a bottle of omega-3 pills at my head. It's okay though, as my injuries are only super fish oil.
Why do fish live in salt water? Because if they lived in pepper water, they would sneeze.
Give a man a fish, and you feed him for a day. Give a man a poison fish, and you feed him for the rest of his life.
What do you call someone who is good at fishing? A professional.
Where do fishes keep their money? In the riverbanks.
I put a bunch of fake fish in the neighborhood pond. They're decoys.
Any recommendations for music I can listen to while I'm fishing? I'm looking for something catchy.
What coding language does a fish code in? C++.
I was fishing with my dad and not having a great time. I said to him, my feet are wet and it smells terrible. Yeah, my dad replied, I'm in the same boat.
I asked my dad why he goes fishing all the time. Just for the halibut.
What did the fish say when he hit a brick wall? Damn.
Still trying to understand why they called the movie Castaway. Tom Hanks never used a fishing rod once.
What do you call a fish without an eye? FSH.
Why are fish so easy to weigh? Because they come with their own scales.
Wayne Brady, Colin Mockery, and Ryan Stiles went fishing but got their poles tangled up. They had a hard time figuring out whose line is it anyway.
I was walking past the river today and this guy asked me if his rod looked good. Then, he asked if I liked his net. When he continued on and asked if I was impressed by the amount of fish he had caught, I finally lost it and shouted, "Hey buddy, quit fishing for compliments."
I used to know a couple who went fishing together. They were called Rod and Annette.
I tied a computer mouse to my fishing rod and it resulted in a highly successful catch. Apparently, the fish love clickbait.
The guy who mans the fishing rods on my boat tried to convince me to vote for a candidate. I fired him. Poll workers aren't allowed to do that.
My brother took away the top of a fishing pole my son was waving around. I reminded him that to spare the rod was to spoil the child.
I've got a device consisting of a circular canopy of pink fish on a folding metal frame supported by a central rod, used as protection against rain. Now I have salmonella.
I bet you think Russians use fishing rods. But no, yet.
Preliminary discussions show that the higher-ups at Bass Pro Shops couldn't agree on whether to raise the price for fishing rods. So it's up for debate.
A man came to the door selling fishing equipment and I ended up spending $1,500 on a fishing rod when I've never fished once. Guess he was just good at reeling me in.
Did you ever see a catfish? How did it hold the rod?
My dog grabbed my fishing rod and announced, "I'm going fishing." Shocked to hear this, I asked, "Well, do you have worms?" He said, "Yep. But I'm going fishing anyway."
As a lifelong fly fisherman, I have traveled the world's best rivers and seen tackle stores carry a lot of stuff, but the ones in China really have it all. I picked up a new rod, new waders, a new tackle box and plenty of line, and at the end the owner asked me if I want fries with that.
How long does it take to reel in a big fish? 2.5 hours.
Why did the fisherman go to Alcoholics Anonymous? He had a real addiction.
Just a moment away from more dad jokes, right after this brief pause. I just had a new winch installed on my boat. Ship just got real.
Shouts out to fishing poles though. They're always keeping it real.
Why does everyone like the fisherman? He likes to keep it real.
A fisherman came to me telling me he had just reeled in the biggest fish Hess ever seen, and that he was going to give it to me for free. I asked him, "What's the catch?"
My stepdad was the one who took me fishing every year growing up. I consider him my real dad.
My friend was very irritated because his fishing pole broke and he had to wind up the fishing line manually. He was being a real crank.
I didn't go fishing. A real missed opportunity.
The problem with fishing is that everything breaks. It's a real problem.
I went on a traumatic fishing trip when I was a kid. I'm still reeling from it.
If Salvador Dali had been knighted and into fishing, he would be surreal.
Not all fishing tales are true, but most are based on real events.
How did the pro fisherman land his job? He sent in his highlight reels.
My new fishing pole has a crack in it. Now it's reeling in pain.
Joe caught a fish. It left him reeling.
Why do fishermen do well at geometry? They are good anglers.
What instrument is an angler best at? Castanets.
What do you call an English fisherman? Anglo-Saxon.
Why did the angler bait his hook with uranium? He wanted to go nuclear fishing.
The former Chancellor of Germany must really enjoy fishing. Everyone keeps calling her Angela Merkel.
A football player went fishing the other day, but he forgot to bring his tackle.
My therapist asked me what was new this week. I told her I bought a new fishing tackle box. She said, "It sounds like you are compartmentalizing again."
I keep the maggots warm in my mouth for fishing. Will they do me any harm? I await your answer with bated breath.
I hate having to buy bait for my favorite sport. For my birthday, my wife bought me a 3-month subscription box for starting a worm farm. So I unwrapped and opened my first box. It was full of dirt. Turned out it was a fishing scam.
I used to love fishing with my son. Oh well. I guess I'll have to find something else to use as bait now.
I want to open a fishing supply store that only sells circuit breakers and home lighting supplies. I'd call it the Bait and Switch.
Fishing bait is drugs for fish. Once that get a taste, they're hooked.
What's the difference between spam and advertising? You can't use advertising as fishing bait.
I told my dad about an idea I had for a radio show, featuring fishermen who use unconventional baits like beans and other legumes. He said it's more like a podcast.
What's the best way to watch a fly fishing tournament? Live stream.
Are any of you guys familiar with fly fishing? I hear you need a really tiny hook to catch one.
Last week I stood in an ice-cold river for 5 hours fly fishing with my dad. And we didn't catch a single fly.
I'm Bob Jeffy.
And I'm Montgomery Jones. We're on a mission to spread the laughs and groans far and wide, so please do us a favor and share just one of these jokes with your family and friends today. Thanks.
Looking for more dad joke humor to share? Then subscribe to our new weekly email newsletter. It's our weekly roundup of the best dad jokes, memes, and humor for you to enjoy. Spread the laughs and groans, and sign up today. Check the sign up link in the show notes page or visit dailydadjokespodcast.com. The Daily Dad Jokes podcast is produced by Classic Studios. See the show notes page for social media links and joke credits. This show was recorded in front of a Cannes studio audience.